Look around this room. Look at the person to your left. Look at the person to your right. Now, I want you to ask yourself a question that is going to sting a little bit. Are they going to now remember you for anything? More importantly, when you leave this planet, and make no mistake, we are all on the clock. Are you going to leave a dent in the universe? Or are you just going to leave a puff of smoke? I'm not here to blow sunshine up your skirt. I'm not here to give you a participation trophy for just showing up. You want a pat on the back? Go see your mama. You want to change your life? You want to actually get up and get it done? Then you need to hear this, and you need to hear it loud and clear. The clock is ticking, and the world doesn't owe you a damn thing. We live in a society right now that is absolutely obsessed with the word tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll start the diet. Tomorrow, I'll make that call. Tomorrow, I'll launch the business. Tomorrow, I'll fix that relationship. Let me hit you with some straight up facts. Tomorrow is not a promise. Tomorrow is a hangman's noose for your potential. Tomorrow is where dreams go to slowly and painfully die. You know what tomorrow is full of? Good intentions. And you know where the road of good intentions leads? Straight to a life of I could have been a contender. I want you to think about pure, unadulterated focus. I want you to think about something that doesn't stop. Something that doesn't negotiate. Something that doesn't listen to excuses. In the quiet, sleepy town of Haddonfield, Illinois, there is a figure who embodies this kind of relentless, unstoppable force. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is a motivational speech. Why are you talking about a horror movie? But hear me out. Michael Myers doesn't run. Michael Myers doesn't tire. Michael Myers doesn't reason with himself. He sees the objective and he puts one foot in front of the other until it is done. He walks through walls. He gets up every single time. He is the embodiment of the boogeyman, not because he's fast, but because you cannot negotiate with him. Now, I am not telling you to go out and be a monster, but I am asking you, what if you pursued your goals with 1/10 of the relentlessness that Michael Myers pursues Laurie Strode? What if your ambition was that quiet, that steady, and that absolutely unavoidable? You can't reason with success. You can't say, hey, I'm really tired today. Can we just do this tomorrow? Success doesn't care if your feelings are hurt. Success is standing at the end of the hall, breathing slowly, waiting for you to stop making excuses. The problem with most people is they want the trophy without the blood. They want the corner office without the late nights. They want the six-pack without the sweat. They want the standing ovation without the years of getting booed off the stage. That's not how this works. That has never been how this works. Let's take a trip back in time. Imagine a young kid walking onto a college campus in Ann Arbor, Michigan. He's got a dream. He wants to play football. But when he looks at the depth chart, he doesn't see his name at the top. He doesn't see it in the middle. He sees it at the very bottom. Number 7, the 7th string quarterback. That means there are 6 other dudes who are, on paper, better than him. Most guys would transfer. Most guys would pack it up and say, Coach doesn't believe in me. Most guys would blame the system. But this kid, Tom Brady, he listened to a guy named Greg Harden, a sports psychologist who told him to stop focusing on what he wasn't getting and start dominating what he had. Tom Brady started treating those 4 reps in practice, the scraps, the garbage time like it was the Super Bowl. He stopped worrying about the other guys and started worrying about his own preparation. He learned to control the controllables. And eventually, when he got his shot, he was ready. You know the rest of the story. 6th round draft pick, 299th pick overall. The guy who ran a 5.28 40-yard dash. He went on to win 7 Super Bowls and is called the GOAT. But here's the part of the story that nobody talks about. The reason Tom Brady succeeded isn't because he had the strongest arm, he didn't. It isn't because he was the fastest. He was actually one of the slowest. He succeeded because he got up every day and he got it done. He understood that the mental game is the only game that matters. When everyone else was counting him out, he was counting his reps. He was building a fortress in his mind that no 6'5" defensive end could ever sack. You see, look around this room. Look at the person to your left. Look at the person to your right. Now, I want you to ask yourself a question that is going to sting a little bit. Are they going to now remember you for anything? More importantly, when you leave this planet, and make no mistake, we are all on the clock. Are you going to leave a dent in the universe? Or are you just going to leave a puff of smoke? I'm not here to blow sunshine up your skirt. I'm not here to give you a participation trophy for just showing up. You want a pat on the back? Go see your mama. You want to change your life? You want to actually get up and get it done? Then you need to hear this, and you need to hear it loud and clear. The clock is ticking, and the world doesn't owe you a damn thing. We live in a society right now that is absolutely obsessed with the word tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll start the diet. Tomorrow, I'll make that call. Tomorrow, I'll launch the business. Tomorrow, I'll fix that relationship. Let me hit you with some straight up facts. Tomorrow is not a promise. Tomorrow is a hangman's noose for your potential. Tomorrow is where dreams go to slowly and painfully die. You know what tomorrow is full of? Good intentions. And you know where the road of good intentions leads? Straight to a life of I could have been a contender. I want you to think about pure, unadulterated focus. I want you to think about something that doesn't stop. Something that doesn't negotiate. Something that doesn't listen to excuses. In the quiet, sleepy town of Haddonfield, Illinois, there is a figure who embodies this kind of relentless, unstoppable force. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is a motivational speech. Why are you talking about a horror movie? But hear me out. Michael Myers doesn't run. Michael Myers doesn't tire. Michael Myers doesn't reason with himself. He sees the objective and he puts one foot in front of the other until it is done. He walks through walls. He gets up every single time. He is the embodiment of the boogeyman, not because he's fast, but because you cannot negotiate with him. Now, I am not telling you to go out and be a monster, but I am asking you, what if you pursued your goals with 1/10 of the relentlessness that Michael Myers pursues Laurie Strode? What if your ambition was that quiet, that steady, and that absolutely unavoidable? You can't reason with success. You can't say, hey, I'm really tired today. Can we just do this tomorrow? Success doesn't care if your feelings are hurt. Success is standing at the end of the hall, breathing slowly, waiting for you to stop making excuses. The problem with most people is they want the trophy without the blood. They want the corner office without the late nights. They want the six-pack without the sweat. They want the standing ovation without the years of getting booed off the stage. That's not how this works. That has never been how this works. Let's take a trip back in time. Imagine a young kid walking onto a college campus in Ann Arbor, Michigan. He's got a dream. He wants to play football. But when he looks at the depth chart, he doesn't see his name at the top. He doesn't see it in the middle. He sees it at the very bottom. Number 7, the 7th-string quarterback. That means there are 6 other dudes who are, on paper, better than him. Most guys would transfer. Most guys would pack it up and say, Coach doesn't believe in me. Most guys would blame the system. But this kid, Tom Brady, he listened to a guy named Greg Harden, a sports psychologist who told him to stop focusing on what he wasn't getting and start dominating what he had. Tom Brady started treating those 4 reps in practice, the scraps, the garbage time like it was the Super Bowl. He stopped worrying about the other guys and started worrying about his own preparation. He learned to control the controllables. And eventually, when he got his shot, he was ready. You know the rest of the story. 6th round draft pick. 299th pick overall. The guy who ran a 5.28 40-yard dash. You went on to win 7 Super Bowls and is called the GOAT. But here's the part of the story that nobody talks about. The reason Tom Brady succeeded isn't because he had the strongest arm, he didn't. It isn't because he was the fastest. He was actually one of the slowest. He succeeded because he got up every day and he got it done. He understood that the mental game is the only game that matters. When everyone else was counting him out, he was counting his reps. He was building a fortress in his mind that no 6'5" defensive end could ever sack. You see, the first step in getting up and getting it done is accepting the truth about your current situation. And the truth hurts. The truth is, if you're not where you want to be, it's your fault. I know that sounds harsh. I know we live in a culture where we want to blame the economy, blame the boss, blame the parents, blame the president. But blame doesn't put food on the table. Blame doesn't build empires. Blame is the crack cocaine of the lazy. You have to look in the mirror and say, I am the captain of this ship. And if this ship is sinking, it's because I'm steering it into icebergs. Once you accept that radical responsibility, everything changes. Because if you are the problem, that also means you are the solution. You have the power to turn this thing around right now. Not tomorrow, right now. I want to take you to another place. A place of sand and blood. A place where men fought not for glory, but for survival. In the movie Gladiator, we meet Maximus Decimus Meridius. He was the greatest general Rome had ever seen. He had the favor of the emperor. He had a family he loved. He had it all. And in one single brutal moment, it was all taken away. The new emperor Commodus murders his family and orders his execution. Maximus escapes, but he ends up captured, sold into slavery, and forced to fight in the arena. Think about that for a second. One day you're on top of the world. The next day, you're covered in dust, fighting for your life in a backwater coliseum while a crowd of idiots chants for your blood. Most men would have died right there. Most men would have given up. Most men would have let the despair swallow them whole. But Maximus looked at his new reality, and he made a choice. He said, what we do in life echoes in eternity. He didn't just fight to survive. He fought with dignitas and auctoritas, with dignity and authority. He fought so well, so purely, that he rose through the ranks. He went from a nobody slave to the Spaniard, the crowd favorite. He earned the name Maximus the Merciful because even in a world of brutal violence, he maintained his code. He used his pain as fuel. He used his rage as focus. And eventually, he stood in the center of the Colosseum in Rome, face to face with the emperor who took everything from him, and he got his vengeance. Now, I'm not saying you've been thrown to the lions, but I'm saying that life has a way of taking your legs out from under you. It has a way of burning your house down. It has a way of crucifying your dreams. And when you're lying there in the dirt, covered in the ashes of what used to be your life, you have a choice. You can stay down, or you can be Maximus. You can look at the crowd, at the doubters, at the people who said you'd never make it, and you can say, I will have my vengeance, in this life or the next. But here's the thing about vengeance against mediocrity. You don't get it by wishing. You get it by putting in the work when nobody is watching. You get it by grinding when your body is screaming at you to stop. You get it by getting up one more time than you fall down. We have a problem in this generation. It's called softness. We have become a society of pillows. If something is hard, we quit. If something hurts our feelings, we run to safe spaces. Let me tell you about a man who knew a thing or two about mental toughness. His name is Kobe Bryant. Kobe created something called the Mamba Mentality. People throw that term around like it's confetti, but do you know what it actually means? Kobe said it best. Mamba Mentality is all about focusing on the process and trusting in the hard work when it matters most. It's the ultimate mantra for the competitive spirit. It means to be able to constantly try to be the best version of yourself. It's a constant quest to try to be better today than you were yesterday. That's it. It's not about winning every game. It's about the obsession with improvement. Kobe would show up to the gym at 4 a.m., not because he had to, but because he wanted to. While his competition was sleeping, Kobe was shooting. While the world was dark, Kobe was working. He understood that the separation between good and great happens in the dark hours. It happens when the cameras are off. It happens when nobody's there to give you a high five. I want you to ask yourself, what are you doing when nobody is watching? Are you scrolling through social media? Are you watching Netflix? Are you finding new and creative ways to waste the one resource you can never get back time? Or are you in the gym, in the library, in the lab, working on your craft? You see, the difference between a dreamer and a doer is the footprint in the gym at 5 a.m. The dreamer dreams of the championship. The doer sweats for it. The dreamer imagines the applause. The doer ignores the blisters. Let's talk about another giant, Michael Jordan. You know the name. You know the 6 championships. You know the shrug. But do you know the mindset? Do you know what drove him to keep playing even at age 40 when he had nothing left to prove? His teammate Brendan Haywood tells a story about Jordan during his time with the Washington Wizards. Jordan was 40 years old. His knee was swelling up like a balloon. They had to drain this disgusting fluid out of his knee just so he could walk, let alone play. Haywood looked at him and said, "Mike, why are you doing this? You have nothing left to prove." And Jordan looked back at him and said, "Man, somebody gave their last dollar to come see me play and bring their kid to the game. I feel like it's my duty to give them the Michael Jordan experience." Do you hear that? Duty. He felt a duty to the fans. He felt a duty to the game. He felt that if someone sacrificed their hard-earned money to watch him play, he owed them his best. Even at 40, even in pain, even when it would have been easier to sit out, that is the standard. That is what get up and get it done looks like. It looks like Jordan showing up to practice on an off day. Haywood showed up at 10 a.m. on a day when nobody was supposed to be there, and Jordan was finishing his workout. Haywood asked him what he was doing there, and Jordan said, "You're asking the wrong question. The question is not, what am I doing here? The question is, why'd I beat you?" He was always competing, always. He couldn't turn it off. That fire, that insane, irrational, burning desire to be the best, that's what you need to cultivate. You need to get to the point where mediocrity actually makes you physically ill. You need to get to the point where the thought of failing makes you more uncomfortable than the pain of the work. So, part 1 ends with a challenge. I want you to look at your life right now. I want you to identify the one thing you've been putting off, the one thing that scares you, the one thing that if you did it would change everything. It might be a conversation. It might be a business plan. It might be a workout. It might be an apology. Now, I want you to channel your inner Michael Myers. Be relentless. Be quiet. Be unstoppable. I want you to channel your inner Tom Brady. Control what you can control. Treat every rep like it's the Super Bowl. I want you to channel your inner Maximus. No matter how far you've fallen, fight back with dignity. And I want you to channel your inner Kobe and MJ. Have that Mamba mentality. Feel that duty to greatness. Stop talking. Stop planning. Stop dreaming. Get up and get it done. If you're still with me, it means something inside you is stirring. It means the complacency is cracking. It means that maybe, just maybe, you're ready to stop being a passenger in your own life and grab the steering wheel. But here's the thing about grabbing the steering wheel. You better know how to drive. You better have a map. Because if you just floor the gas pedal without a plan, you're going to end up wrapped around a telephone pole. Getting up and getting it done isn't just about effort. It's not just about grinding your teeth until they turn to dust. It's about strategy. It's about mindset. It's about having the right guide to show you the path. Because every great champion, every titan of industry, every legend that ever walked the earth had one thing in common. They had a coach. They had a mentor. They had someone who could see the field from a higher perspective. In the world of basketball, there has never been a coach like Phil Jackson. They called him the Zen Master, and he didn't just win championships, he won 11 of them. That's more than anyone, ever. But here's what's fascinating about Phil Jackson. He didn't win with the same team. He won with Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. Then he went to Los Angeles, and he won with Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. 2 different teams, 2 different superstars, 2 different dynasties. How did he do it? Did he have a magic playbook? Partly. He had the triangle offense, a system that maximized everyone's strengths. But more importantly, he had the ability to manage human beings. He walked into Los Angeles in 1999 and he inherited a powder keg. You had Shaq, the most dominant physical force on the planet. And you had Kobe, a young, hungry, unstoppable assassin. And they hated each other. They were constantly feuding, constantly at each other's throats. Most coaches would have tried to force them to be friends. They would have had team bonding sessions and held hands and sung Kumbaya. That's not Phil Jackson. Phil gave Kobe a copy of The Art of War. He nicknamed Shaq the Big Aristotle. He used philosophy, meditation, and assigned reading to get inside their heads. He created a culture where two alpha dogs could coexist because they both bought into a bigger mission. This is a massive lesson for you today. You cannot do it alone. I don't care how tough you are. I don't care how smart you are. If you try to build an empire by yourself, you will die of exhaustion on a pile of bricks. You need a team. You need a Phil Jackson in your life. Someone who can see your blind spots. Someone who can mediate the war inside your own head. Someone who can burn sage and calm the chaos when everything is falling apart. But here's the other side of that coin. Even with the best coach in the world, the players still have to play. Kobe still had to shoot the shots. Shaq still had to bang in the paint. You can have the best guidance in the world, but if you don't execute, you're just a student with straight A's who flunks out of life. Let's shift gears. Let's travel to the sun-scorched clay courts of Paris or the manicured grass of Wimbledon. For the last 20 years, men's tennis has been dominated by three names, three titans. Three guys who refuse to let the other guy breathe. And the story of one of them is probably the best example of getting up and getting it done that you will ever hear. When Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal were at the peak of their powers, they were not just winning. They were owning the sport. They were the two-headed monster. They were the story. And then there was this kid from Serbia, a kid from a war-torn country where resources were scarce and nothing came easy. His name is Novak Djokovic. Novak showed up on tour, and he was the third wheel, the odd man out, the guy who had to fight for scraps of attention. He famously said, in the Federer-Nadal era, there was no room for a third. The crowd loved Roger, the artist. They loved Rifa, the warrior. Novak? They didn't know what to do with him. He tried to be funny. He did impersonations of other players to get laughs. He tried to be liked, but it wasn't working. At some point, Novak had a moment of clarity. He realized that trying to fit into their box was killing his soul. He had to stop being the third wheel and start being the driver. He had to embrace his own identity. He had to use his background, his struggle, his unique grit as his weapon. He said, challenges strengthen you. If everything is handed to you, you get comfortable. If you're forced to solve problems, you grow. And grow he did. Novak Djokovic used the adversity of being the outsider to build an iron will. He changed his diet. He refined his technique. He became a mindfulness guru. He did everything he could to find an edge. And slowly but surely, he started beating them. He started winning. And now, he holds the record for the most Grand Slam titles in the history of the men's game, 24. He didn't just join the party. He became the host. That's what you have to do. If you feel like the odd one out, if you feel like you don't belong in the room, if you feel like everyone else is more talented, more connected, better looking, or just plain lucky or good, use it. Let that chip on your shoulder grow until it becomes a boulder. Let the doubt of others be the gasoline on the fire of your determination. Now, let's talk about the king, Roger Federer. When you watch Federer play, it looks easy. It looks like poetry. It looks like he was born with a racket in his hand and grace in his blood. And sure, he has God-given talent. But talent is a lie if you don't back it up. The reason Federer made it look easy is because he did the hard things when no one was watching. There's a reason he made it to 20 consecutive Grand Slam semifinals. That's not luck. That's consistency. That's professionalism. That's showing up every single day and putting in the work. In 2009, he finally won the French Open, the one trophy that had eluded him. He had struggled. He had doubted. But in the final, when it mattered most, he found that sudden relaxed fluidness. His shot-making cast a web of exquisite geometry around the court. But do you want to know how he got that fluidness? Do you want to know how he made it look so easy? It's because he had already bled on the practice court. He had already cried in the locker room. He had already failed and failed and failed again. The elegance you see on Sunday afternoon is the result of the sweat on Tuesday morning. And then there is his great rival, Rafael Nadal. If Federer is the artist, Nadal is the warrior. Nadal plays every point like it's match point. Every rally like it's his last. Where does that come from? How do you find the desire to fight in every single match, year after year, for 2 decades? Nadal explains it simply. It's the fear of not being satisfied with my attitude. I can lose, I can play horribly, but what can happen is me leaving the court knowing that I didn't do my best. That's the key, having personal responsibility to give your best. Sometimes giving your best is a disaster. You're playing badly, but you fight. You fight. That's the mantra. Even when you're playing badly, even when the shots aren't falling, even when the clients aren't buying, even when the boss is yelling, even when your body hurts, you fight. Because the moment you stop fighting, you've already lost. Nadal also gives us a crucial piece of wisdom about burnout. He says, in the end, you realize that more isn't always better. When you play too much, you start feeling like a worker, and sports can't be a normal and monotonous job. It's passion. You lose a bit of the freshness you need at every moment. This is key. Getting up and getting it done doesn't mean working 24/7 until you have a mental breakdown. It means working with passion. It means finding that balance where you are pushing hard, but you're also preserving the love for the game. It means taking a step back when you need to, so you can come back stronger. Less is often more, but only if you are fully present when you are doing the work. So, as we wrap up part 2, I want you to think about the architecture of your own mind. Is it built to last? Is it built to withstand the storms? Or is it a house of cards, ready to collapse at the first sign of trouble? You need the strategic mind of Phil Jackson. Find a mentor, read a book, listen to a podcast. Get wisdom from somewhere other than your own limited experience. You need the resilience of Novak Djokovic. Turn your outsider status into your superpower. Let them doubt you. Let them count you out. It just makes the comeback story better. You need the effortless excellence of Roger Federer. But remember that effortlessness is a mirage. It's built on a mountain of unseen effort. And you need the fighting spirit of Rafael Nadal. Never leave the court knowing you could have given more. Fight for every point. Fight for every day. Fight for every breath. You are the architect. You are the builder. And starting right now, you need to renovate. Tear down the walls of excuse. Replace the windows of doubt with glass made of clarity. And install a foundation of grit that goes so deep, not even hell itself could shake it. We have arrived at the final chapter of this conversation. We've talked about being relentless like the shape. We've talked about controlling the controllables like Tom Brady. We've talked about fighting back from the dirt like Maximus. We've talked about the Mamba mentality and the duty to greatness. We've talked about strategy, resilience, and fighting spirit. But now we have to answer the biggest question of all. The question that keeps men and women awake at 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling. The question that haunts every soul that's ever walked this earth. That question is, for what? What is the point of all this grinding? What is the point of all this suffering? What is the point of getting up at 4 a.m., of bleeding on the practice court, of fighting when you're playing badly? If the answer is just to make a few extra bucks or to get a slightly nicer car, then honestly, it's not worth it. You'll burn out. You'll quit. Because money and things are not enough to fuel a fire that can last a lifetime. You need a mission. You need a purpose that is bigger than your paycheck. You need a reason to fight that transcends your own comfort. Let's go back to Maximus for a second. When he was in the arena, covered in blood and sand, he wasn't fighting for a trophy. He wasn't fighting for the approval of the crowd. He was fighting for something far more powerful. He was fighting for the memory of his wife and his son. He was fighting for justice. He was fighting to right a cosmic wrong. That purpose gave him strength that no amount of money ever could. It made him fearless. It made him invincible. Because if you're already dead inside, what can they do to you? They can only kill you once. Maximus was already dead the moment his family was crucified. His vengeance was just a period at the end of a very long sentence. He said, "What we do in life echoes in eternity." That's the quote. That's the key. You are not just living for today. You are living for the echo. You are living for the legacy. You are living for the ripple effect that your life will have on generations you will never meet. This brings us to a man who understood echoes better than anyone. A young king from Macedonia who, by the age of 30, had created one of the largest empires in the ancient world. Alexander the Great. Alexander didn't just want to win battles. He wanted to reach the ends of the world and beyond. When he conquered, he didn't just destroy. He spread culture, ideas, and knowledge. He was tutored by Aristotle himself. He carried Homer's Iliad with him everywhere he went. He slept with a dagger and a copy of Homer's poems under his pillow. He was obsessed with glory. He was obsessed with achieving something so great that the world would never, ever forget his name. And guess what? We're still talking about him. Over 2,000 years later, we are sitting here, invoking his name. That's an echo. That's eternity. Now, I'm not saying you need to conquer Persia, but I'm saying you need to conquer your own world. You need to expand your own empire of influence. You need to do something so significant in your